Hi, my name is Nissan Yaron. I'm CEO and co-founder of Humains.com. Humains is a platform to generate and control autonomous conversational AI agents. Our focus is on customer care, sales, support, with specific emphasis on the automotive. We have multiple corporations with automotive companies hoping to bring this technology into the car. We've been here for quite a while. Our first agent, which might be even the first agent that um, was created in May or a bit before 2022. And then we proved that an LLM, and that was GPT-3 then, can create structured data, and that this data can be leveraged into highly complex tasks and proactive directive. So I'll show you an example from something that we've published in May 22nd and 2022, and then we'll speak about the right framework to achieve real autonomy that can work for a business, and you can feel comfortable to leave it alone with the end clients of this business. So 1 second. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is a comparison between an assistant that we released back then to Siri and Google now, and to see the power of an LLM that is behaving as assistant, but has real capabilities in natural language, and in the same time to create reliable functions. So the task is to ask the assistant to send a message to Johnny, but say it in a third person way, as if you were speaking with a human. So let's see how Siri, Google Now, and our own assistant back then was able to handle this task.
Ask Johnny if he's coming the next week or the week after.
Johnny. Sending message.
So you see that I said it in a third person, told it, ask Johnny if he is coming, and the assistant sent a message, are you coming? So it has the understanding of the language, the contextual understanding, and the ability to perform the action in parallel. Let's see the other assistants.
Ask Johnny if he's coming next week or the week after.
So as you see, Google Now just opened Google and Siri.
Ask Johnny if he's coming next week or the week after.
So Siri was able to understand that it's a messaging task, but the text was in second person. Like it was exactly what I said. It wasn't able to transform the text. And this is obvious because Siri is a decision tree based technology. It doesn't have the capabilities into creating new text or edit the existing text. Now, let's see an agentic behavior of our assistant from back then. I will tell the assistant to ask the Google Assistant to ask Johnny. So that's like a multiple steps.
Can you please ask Google to message Johnny asking him if he's coming next week or the week after?
Okay, Google. Message Johnny.
Okay, this is step 2. Now Google opened it, and Google says, sure, what's the message? Then our agent saying it in third person, are you coming next week or the week after? Then Google asks if to send it, and then our agent says yes, and the message is being sent. So what we see here is an agentic behavior, meaning I assigned a mission to the assistant. It had multiple steps, and it didn't do exactly what I said as I said it. It used its own kind of reasoning is a big word here, but it transformed the text in a way that it understands, because I said, ask Johnny. So I said it in third person. It realized that it should do it in second person. So that's like higher degree of intelligence. And also, of course, the fact that it can perform this step by step and wait for the response, then based on the response, provide the next command. Now, I showed you this to explain that our approach for agentic AI is not based on any kind of, let's say, modern frameworks, but our own framework and understanding of how LLM think and work. And so we have our own philosophy on that, and it's been working very well for us. So to understand how we are doing what we're doing, maybe I will first say what we're doing today. So that was back then. And today, after 3 years, we have a framework or a platform that enables us to create proactive agents that are being sent by a business to the end customer. And they need to convert them, convince them, retrieve information, provide information, sell, help, or whatever. But it will be an proactive outreach to help the business achieve a goal from the end customer. Okay, so we switch from a reactive assistant that answers questions and perform commands to an agent that has a mission toward the end user. So to understand what is an agent and how to understand their autonomy, we like to see it very similar to the way that people are envisioning autonomous cars. So I'll show you a slide of similar to the way that autonomous cars are being handled. We see the agentic autonomy. So level 1 would be an assistant. It doesn't have any autonomy. You say a command and it does the command, and it answers with predefined answers. So it actually don't have any kind of real intelligence in its answers. Some of them has NLU algorithms that has some intelligence in understanding the user, but the outcome is predefined based on the decision tree branch. Then L2, level 2, would be contextual understanding. I can say something like ask him, okay, like we did in this video, play that, call her. So having an understanding, a contextual understanding is the key here for the agent to be able to handle a natural conversation where we refer different parts of the conversation naturally. Now, as we speak today, in the beginning of 2025, there is not even a single assistant in the market that does that in a natural way. So you can't speak with Google Assistant about a song and then like ask a recommendation and then say play it on Spotify, or talk about like cool places to go to, have a natural conversation about it, and then say, okay, pick one of them and navigate there, because the flow of conversation with the LLM is separated from the actual functions. even though LLMs can perform functions, it's not reliable. So it's not something that you can rely on to create deterministic behavior. L3 would be already the capability in performing multiple steps of reliable actions from a natural conversation, but it's not an autonomous as we envision autonomy, because those are pretty predefined workflows. Okay, and I will give a direct example. So let's go back to level 1. In level 1, I'm saying navigate to a charging station, and the assistant will navigate to the charging station. In level 2, I will use a reference. I'd say that's too far, navigate to a different one, and then the assistant will say, I will navigate to a different one, and we'll understand that, because the different one, the agent will understand, or the assistant will understand, that it referred to the text that I said before. So as mentioned before, none of the existing assistant today can support that. And as I showed you using our agent, we did it already in 2022. And in L3, the agent can already perform flows. So the agent start, for example, low battery detected, you should navigate to a charging station. Then a driver can say, okay. And the agent can be proactive and ask a question. Do you have any preferences? And then the person can say, the driver can say, on my route. And then the agent will take them to the route. So there are multiple steps that started because of a trigger, but those flows are predefined. But there is a sense of autonomy in analyzing the responses and structuring the outcome, because if the driver says on my route, then the agent need to adjust the API call to answer this requirement. So it has some kind of, like, let's say, autonomy area, but the flow is predefined. Someone predefine a flow where the driver, like in this kind of situation, the agent should have like this follow-up questions. But what is not like the chatbot is that the answers has some kind of non-deterministic possibilities, and the agent should be able to handle them and create a deterministic API call out of it. In level 4, we are talking about something completely different. The agent can start this conversation with low battery detected, and then the driver can ask the agent to navigate to a charging station. And then the agent can resist. I checked your schedule, you won't make it to the meeting. So the agent now try to convince the driver not to navigate to a charging station. The driver can argue, I'll make it. And the agent can argue back. I calculated the distances, you won't make it. Should we order an Uber instead? And then the driver can be convinced, and the agent can flatter them. The idea here is that the agent has a sense of a personality. It has a way, it has the ability to resist. We saw in the previous step that the flow is predefined, and what the driver will say, the agent will comply. Here, the agent has the independence to make calculations, and based on its understanding, to resist a person and to try to convert the person here to perform an action. We are switching spots. We are switching chairs. The agent now is the one who leads the conversation, is the responsible persona in the situation, and it convinced the human into perform a specific action. This can be applied into any kind of customer care, sales, information retrieval, or information providing. In any place where you want to have a representative that engage with a human and help or ask the human to do something, then this will apply. So the ability to have a persona that can hold its persona and resist, it's also what will help prevent the hallucinations and alignment issues, because you have an entity that is capable of holding itself as a separate entity from the user. So it's a big leap between stage 3 and stage 4, where we create a persona that has its own understanding of the situation and can pursue a specific outcome that it believes that is the preferred outcome. Stage 5 would be, complete autonomous optimization of the process. The agent can read the calendar, realize the problem, engage with the people that the driver is supposed to meet, move the meetings, optimize itself, and so on. So that's like an autonomy that enables it to not only resist a human, but also to structure the environment or the situation in a way that it believes that is better. So this, we will get there when people will really be comfortable with the behavior of the AI agents. So how we can get to this point? Because the jump between the third phase into the fourth phase is big, and the jump between phase 1 to phase 2 is pretty big. Jumping between the contextual understanding between and creating functions is big. But so every step here is big. How can we envision the system that hold this situation? So here's where we come here. We'll come in, and I'll explain the way that we approach it. So we believe that to create a real autonomy, the right approach would be a dual deterministic and non-deterministic state machine. It basically means that we do not believe in an open-ended agent that will just need to be better and better, because humans are not like this as well. When you have a task, you have a protocol. You follow the protocol. You know how to operate this app. You know what would be the best way to make the navigation. You have a culture. You have values. You have your own boundaries of space and time. So we humans, we were born in to have boundaries. This is something that helps us. It helps us to be productive because we know our limitations. So why do we think that an AI should work without limitations and it will just work, out of the box with no hallucinations and with great outcome? It will not, because it's not working like that. You can't just take a person, like the smartest one, give them a mission to do something that they never did and hope that it will be great. And an AI will not do it as well. Maybe in some kind of an AGI one day, it will figure out most of the things that people will ask how to do it well, but it will be only after it was trained on these data sets that helps it understand, its boundaries, capabilities, and the ground. And so the grounding here is very important. I have an article about how to create the persona and the resisting capabilities. It's called Obedience is what you ask, but it's not what they need, where I speak about this persona element. So here I actually want to jump another phase. So in a hybrid deterministic and non-deterministic state machine, it's not only a tool that the agent can use, it's also states that the agent can use. So the entire prompt can change. The entire information that the agent has can change, but we try not to confuse the agent. So once the agent has the understanding of the task, like if it had the explanation of the tools and functions, as you may do with the existing system like ChatGPT or Claude, it has the understanding of the other states that it can be in. So in each state, there's different tools. And this way, it's also very scalable, because you can have like a very precise states that handle different elements. For example, a state to handle objections, a state to charge credit card, a state for performing perfect RAG search, and so on. So in every one of those states, you are not mixing things. And it's similar as way that we, envision the way that we think. When I'm now dedicated into speaking with you and recording this lecture, I'm not thinking about a lot of other things. And if someone will start speaking with me about other things, that will make me confused. And the same thing with LLMs. We don't want to confuse them. So we try to let them focus on what they need to do and let them decide where and how to move to another state. Now, the idea of the state machine that will create a real autonomy is that they can go backwards. So the way that it's here, there is a natural flow between start to finish. It goes from left to right, but it can go back and it can also go horizontally if it makes sense. So in the example that I provided before, if I need to handle objections, then I will maybe move to the objection handling state, even though I was just about to finish the task of sell something. And if I realize now that I need new information that I don't have, maybe I will go back to a state where I will be very focused on asking questions about this information that I really need to fulfill my task. For example, the credit card date that wasn't provided to me. So if you are capable of going back or going horizontally, you solve the linear issue of LLMs. One of the biggest problems of LLMs, the reasoning, is the fact that unlike us humans that making a lot of mistakes, but also acknowledging our mistakes, LLMs doesn't have these capabilities. There's the O series of OpenAI that creating this kind of reasoning trees. It's a step in the right direction, but it's very not cost effective when you think about the simplicity of just understanding that you made a mistake in your thought process and just go back a few steps and take a different path. So you can create like trees of possibilities and then choose between them. May work. But again, if you think about us humans, our brain has two cores. We can basically move our body and think on one thing at a time. So that's like very not efficient if you compare it to like multiple cores computers. Yet we are still much more effective. And why is that? Because we use our limited resources in a much smarter way. We know how to take a back turn and think in a more circular way and change our course. So if you can construct a system that can go back, retrieve information that it missed, or handle new information, you have the basic infrastructure to create real autonomy, a system that can handle by itself. It's correlated to the article by Anthropic about different kind of autonomy levels or autonomy flows. And in their last phase, they're talking about an agent that creates its own tasks. But I actually think that it's not, as I said before, I'm not expecting an AI agent to be open-ended and be good. And I don't think that we should aspire for that, because I think it's the wrong approach to understand autonomy. To be really to have like real autonomy, you need to have the wide situation awareness and also be aware of your own limitations and your own capabilities. And those are the states. So you need to have the boundaries, but you need to have it expandable. So maybe there is an automated system that can create new states. It can create new rooms, new capabilities for itself. That would be closer to an AGI or closer to like a real autonomous agent. But it's not like setting up a list of tasks and then trying to perform each and every task. This wouldn't work. It needs to create a plan that has its rules and tools and capabilities. And then once this room was created, it can enter this room and utilize it. So that would be similar to how a human would build a house or a building. You will build floor by floor before you can try to reach the highest floor. Just not working otherwise. So to finish, I want to show you something that is similar to what I showed in the beginning, but like how it looks like few years later, and how you can utilize agentic capabilities and flexibility in order to create like interesting and meaningful conversations. I'll share you this video here. So that's not a big example for proactivity actually, but it is example of flexibility and context understanding and having some kind of let's say emotional EQ and function calling in the right time. So let me show you this like short video. And if you'd like to see proactive things, then just enter to our YouTube channel, and you can see all kind of cool things.
Hi, Nissan. It's great to see you. How can I assist you today?
Hi, I want to show off your capabilities. Can you tell me what you're doing? What can you do?
I'm thrilled to show off what I can do, Nissan. As an AI agent created by Impress, I can assist with a wide range of tasks such as autonomous customer service, natural language understanding and generation, providing driver assistance in vehicles, and handling voice and text interfaces. Whatever you need help with, I'm here for you. Feel free to ask for a specific demonstration or task you'd like me to handle.
That's awesome. I want you to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
I'd be delighted. Let me sing a bit of Somewhere Over the Rainbow for you. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dreamed of.
That was beautiful, but no offense. Can you open it on Spotify instead? So you heard a very human-like voice generated by great voices by OpenAI. It had very specific emotion in it, excitement. This emotion was creating dynamic voice. When I asked it to sing, it did. And later I asked it to open it on Spotify. But think how much time was passed before I asked it to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Because before it sang it, and then I said, that was beautiful, but no offense. Can you open it on Spotify? So the ability of the agent here to have like the real natural conversation, tell what its capabilities are, change the emotion, control the color, control the voice, and then open the Spotify, that implies that it has the state capabilities to move between situations and adapt. And of course, from the user perspective, it feels seamless. Okay, it's the same conversation. I don't care how the agent did it, as long as it did it. But there are like so many things that it needs to do in order to just perform this little thing. We have use cases of debt collection, SDR, sales, and very complex driver related tasks with the automotive companies. But I actually chose a simple one, like a very, very distinct one, if you want to try with something that's supposed to be simple but actually not supported by most frameworks and none of the assistants, then if you think about it in the world of states and situation awareness, that's a good place to start. I hope you enjoyed it and it was interesting for you. And enjoy your day.